Pause for a moment. Be brutally honest with yourself. Who among us has never lost control, snapped in anger, broken down in tears, or erupted when calm was most needed? And afterward, who hasn't felt the sting of realizing that others looked on, not with admiration, but with pity, fear, or even contempt? We often tell ourselves that being emotional makes us authentic, that raw feelings prove we are human. But where, then, is the respect we long for? Where is the authority we crave over our own lives? The truth is harsh. Those who cannot command themselves are destined to be commanded. Nature does not bend for those enslaved by their impulses, and as cruel as it sounds, the world rarely honors the hostage of their own passions, no matter how gifted, intelligent, or well-meaning they may be.
Like a hurricane, a person without emotional control is seen as weak, unstable, unfit to lead themselves, much less lead others. There's a brutal truth few dare to admit. People do not respect those who are endlessly dragged around by their own impulses. But do not mistake this for a call to become cold, robotic, or void of feeling. True emotional mastery is not suppression, it is transformation. It is the almost artistic power to shape emotion into something higher, to channel rage into relentless focus, to turn pain into creation, to transform fear into courage. That is the defining line between the weak and the strong, between those who are ruled by circumstance and those who rule over it. This message is for the ones tired of being branded as explosive, unstable, or too difficult. For those who feel in their core they could be so much more. If only they stopped sabotaging themselves whenever emotions take the wheel. Because yes, giving in to impulse may feel like release in the moment, but the price is steep. The loss of respect from others, and worse, the erosion of self-respect. And here is the hard truth few will speak aloud. No one earns true authority without first mastering themselves. A person who cannot govern their emotions has no right to govern anything. Nature itself is merciless in this law. He who cannot command himself must obey. And this is why so many men remain small, prisoners of their own passions. Are you ready to uncover why losing control chains you to mediocrity, and how self-mastery can set you free? If you want to transform that raw energy surging through your veins into true personal power and earn the kind of respect that cannot be faked or demanded, then stay with me until the end. Because perhaps today, for the first time, you will realize a truth few ever grasp. Mastering your emotions is the very foundation of something no one else can give you: genuine respect. Yet so many confuse control with repression, as if they were the same thing. How often do we hear that someone who keeps their composure must be cold, distant, almost inhuman? How often is the person who resists tears or chooses calm over anger accused of bottling things up or running from their truth? This perspective may sound modern, even compassionate, but in reality, it's a dangerous misunderstanding. Nietzsche himself would have been the first to laugh at such an error. For him, emotional control had nothing to do with suffocating what one feels. It is not about silencing the inner monster or pretending it does not exist. On the contrary, he saw emotions as vital, powerful, almost artistic forces, essential to the human experience. He believed there is greatness in feeling deeply, but he also saw tragedy in those who live as slaves to their impulses. In nature's logic, mastering emotion means recognizing each inner shadow without fear, without shame, and then deciding what to do with it. It is the work of a sculptor. The raw marble is the emotion in its wildest state. Repressing would mean hiding the marble in a cellar, pretending it does not exist. Mastery, however, is sculpting, shaping, carving, refining, transforming raw material into something strong, beautiful, and worthy of respect. Some believe that to feel anger, sadness, or fear is weakness. But nature makes it clear. The weakness is not in the feeling. It is in becoming a hostage to it. The man who cannot contain himself when emotions surge is not free. He is ruled, and no one respects the ruled.
The man who, when provoked, erupts in hatred and calls it authenticity, deceives himself. What he reveals is not truth, but slavery. For if another can ignite your rage with a word or a gesture, then you are not free. You are theirs to command. And how can one who is so easily mastered ever hope to be respected? Emotions, in Nietzsche's vision, are not curses to be suppressed, but raw elements awaiting transformation. Anger, when refined, can sharpen into focus. Fear can ripen into caution. Sadness can deepen into compassion. Joy can become an inexhaustible source of creation. Yet this alchemy does not happen by chance. It requires discipline, awareness, and above all, the will to shape one's own inner storm. This is the distinction between repression and mastery. To repress is to bury what you feel, to lock it away until it erupts later with even greater violence. To master is to face the emotion without flinching, to acknowledge its strength, and then to choose its form and its moment. Mastery is not extinguishing the flame, but deciding whether it will burn as a destructive fire or shine as a guiding light. But to grasp this truth fully, one must confront a deeper question. From where does this immense force within us arise? Why are emotions powerful enough to build empires or tear them down in an instant? For Nietzsche, the answer was profound. Emotions are not fleeting moods of the human soul, but primordial forces of nature themselves, untamed, immense, and irresistible. Within each of us rages a storm as vast as the sea, as fierce as fire, as unyielding as the wind. The question is not whether these forces exist, but whether we will be ruled by them, or become their master. It is as though within every human being there dwell storms waiting to gather. Earthquakes capable of shaking the very ground. Volcanoes forever on the edge of eruption. The true danger is not in feeling these forces. It is in being ruled entirely by them. Many flatter themselves with the illusion of being rational, believing they are sovereign masters of their own choices. But nature whispers the uncomfortable truth. Most of what we do, most of what we say, surges forth long before reason even has time to awaken. It is emotion that often takes the helm, pulling us along like an unseen tide no will can resist. Consider anger. In a single instant it transforms us. Breath quickens, the gaze hardens, fists clench, and the body itself becomes a furnace of heat and urgency. The desire to lash out, to wound, to prove oneself, it feels almost irresistible. And yet, Nietzsche saw further. He understood that while anger unleashed without restraint is nothing but destruction, it also conceals a vital energy, a fire that, when disciplined,
can become courage, determination, unbreakable focus. A man who can seize this flame and bend it toward creation is seen as powerful, but one who is consumed by it, who smashes everything in blind fury or poisons the air with reckless words, reveals not strength, but weakness, and earns only distrust. Fear, too, is a force of immense gravity. It shrinks the body, bends the shoulders, weakens the voice. Yet even here nature is not cruel but wise. Fear is no absolute enemy. It is an ancient signal, a primal guardian. When mastered, it sharpens awareness, teaches caution, and preserves life itself.